The cashier's voice cracked when she said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. Without the receipt, I can't refund this." Ethan froze mid-step. He had been walking past the customer service desk, eyes on his phone, mind buried in quarterly forecasts and a board meeting that had gone sideways. But the sound of that sentence, soft, apologetic, final, cut through the noise of the grocery store. The young woman standing at the counter clutched a can of baby formula like it was fragile glass. Her shoulders sagged. She looked down, then back up, blinking fast. "I don't need the money back," she said quietly. I can't afford this one. My baby can't use it. I just need to exchange it." The cashier hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. "I understand, but the system—" "It's okay," the woman said quickly, already stepping back. "I'll just take it." She turned away too fast, and as she did, Ethan saw the stroller beside her, saw the tiny bundle inside, saw the baby's face, red, fussy, hungry. And he saw the woman's hand shake as she pushed the stroller away. Ethan stood there, unmoving, while something unfamiliar tightened in his chest. He almost kept walking. He was the CFO of a Fortune 500 company. His days were measured in millions, in margins and forecasts and risk mitigation. He was used to solving problems with spreadsheets, not emotions. He had learned, painfully, that getting involved only complicated things. But as the woman moved toward the exit, head down, shoulders curved inward like she was trying to disappear, he understood something in a way he never had before. This wasn't about money. This was about survival. "Wait," he said. The word came out sharper than he intended. The woman stopped, startled, and turned around. Her eyes were tired, more than tired. They were the eyes of someone who hadn't slept enough in months, who had cried quietly too many times so no one would hear. "Yes?" she asked cautiously. Ethan glanced at the cashier, then back at the woman. "I can cover it, the exchange, or whatever you need." Her face flushed instantly. "No, I wasn't asking." "I know," he said quickly. "I just saw what happened." She hesitated, pride and desperation warring on her face. The baby let out a thin, hungry cry, as if answering for her. "I'm fine," she said finally, but the words rang hollow. Ethan nodded slowly. "Okay, then let me do something else." He picked up a basket from a nearby stack. "Come back with me, just for a minute." The woman stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "I'm not comfortable." "That's fair. You don't have to trust me. You don't even have to talk. Just let me help." She looked down at her baby again, closed her eyes for a second. Then she nodded. That was the moment everything changed, though neither of them knew it yet. They walked the aisles in silence at first. Ethan grabbed the correct formula without asking, checking labels carefully, then diapers, wipes, baby food. He moved with the quiet efficiency of someone used to responsibility, but there was a stiffness to him, like he wasn't sure where to put his hands. "My name's Maya," she said finally, breaking the silence, "and I really don't expect this." "I'm Ethan, and I know." She gave a small, humorless smile. "People usually don't see me, not like this." He didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't pretend. "I saw you returning formula. That stopped me." She swallowed. "It's been a week." He almost laughed at how inadequate those words felt, but he understood. Some weeks were heavier than others. At the checkout, Maya flinched as the total climbed. Ethan didn't react. He tapped his card, the same way he had done 1,000 times before. For dinners he barely remembered, for flights he barely felt. But this time the sound of the receipt printing felt different, louder, heavier. Outside, Maya turned to him, eyes shining with unshed tears. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't," Ethan said. "Just take care of your baby." She nodded, then hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why?" she asked simply. He opened his mouth, closed it, thought of a penthouse apartment that echoed at night, the divorce papers in a drawer, the silence that followed him everywhere. "I think," he said slowly, "that sometimes we're given a chance to be useful, and we shouldn't ignore it." Maya studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "I won't forget this." They parted ways in the parking lot. Ethan watched her load the stroller into an old sedan with a cracked taillight. He stood there longer than necessary after she drove away. He told himself it was a one-time thing. He was wrong. The next morning, Ethan couldn't focus. Numbers blurred. Meetings felt hollow. The image of Maya at the counter clutching that formula kept replaying in his mind. At lunch, Ethan found himself driving back to the same grocery store. He didn't know why. He just knew he needed to. She was there again, this time near the clearance aisle, comparing prices with meticulous care. The baby slept in the stroller, a worn blanket tucked around him. Maya looked up and froze when she saw Ethan. "Oh, hi," he said, suddenly unsure of himself. "I didn't mean to surprise you." She laughed softly. "You did." They stood awkwardly for a moment. "I was going to grab coffee if you're comfortable, no pressure." She hesitated, then shrugged. "I could use coffee." They sat at a small cafe near the store, the baby carrier between them. Maya spoke in pieces at first, about her son, Leo, about how his father had left when she was pregnant, about the waiting lists, the forms, the feeling of constantly being one step behind. Ethan listened, really listened. He didn't interrupt, he didn't offer solutions, he just sat with her words. "I hate that moment, at the counter, everyone watching, feeling like I failed him." "You didn't," Ethan said immediately. She looked up, surprised. "You showed up," he continued. "You tried. That matters." Her eyes filled. She looked away quickly. Most people don't say that. Most people, Ethan realized, didn't stop. Over the next few weeks, their paths crossed again and again, sometimes by accident, sometimes not. Ethan helped Maya revise her resume, connected her with a friend in HR, watched Leo while she went for interviews. It wasn't charity. It felt like something else, like rebuilding something that had broken quietly. For the first time in years, Ethan's evenings were full, not loud or dramatic, just meaningful. But kindness, he learned, was rarely simple. One night, after putting Leo to bed, Maya looked at Ethan across the small living room. "You know," she said, "I used to think people like you lived in a different world." He smiled faintly. "I thought that too." "Turns out," she said, "we're just lonely in different ways." The truth of that settled between them. Months later, Ethan sat in a boardroom approving a budget for a new corporate initiative, expanded parental support, emergency assistance funds, flexible schedules. One executive raised an eyebrow. "What changed your mind?" Ethan thought of a grocery store, a can of formula, a moment he almost ignored. "I saw something," he said simply, "and I couldn't unsee it." The program passed, lives changed, and on a quiet evening, as Leo fell asleep on his chest and Maya leaned against him, Ethan understood the full weight of what that day had given him. Not gratitude, not praise, but purpose. All because he stopped.